The Zetharian mining ship descended through Earth's atmosphere like a falling star. Inside the control room, Captain Vex studied the readings with satisfaction. The planet below showed no signs of intelligent life. No radio waves. No heat signatures from cities. No orbital satellites. Just a dead world covered in green vegetation and crumbling ruins. Perfect, Vex said, his 3 eyes blinking in sequence. Begin mining operations. This world has rich deposits of titanium and rare metals. The Empire will reward us well. His crew had been surveying dead worlds for 20 years. Earth was just another assignment. According to the Galactic Council's records, this planet had shown signs of primitive technology 300 years ago. Then suddenly all signals stopped. The Council assumed the species had destroyed itself with nuclear war or disease. It happened to many young civilizations. The ship landed near the ruins of what had once been a great city. Tall buildings stood like broken teeth, their windows empty and dark. Vines crawled up the sides of the structures. Trees grew through cracked streets. Nature had reclaimed everything. Deploy the mining drones, Vex ordered. Start with Sector 7. The scans show heavy metal deposits beneath the surface. The Zetharians had conquered 47 worlds. They were efficient and ruthless. They took what they wanted and enslaved any species too weak to resist. But dead worlds were easier. No resistance, no complications, just resources waiting to be harvested. Deep beneath the surface, in a city that had not seen sunlight in 200 years, alarms began to sound. Commander Sarah Chen ran through the underground corridors of New Detroit. Red emergency lights flashed along the walls. People were screaming. She could hear the rumble of machinery above growing louder with each passing moment. Report, she shouted into her communicator. Mining equipment has breached Sector 12, a voice crackled back. We have multiple casualties. The ceiling is collapsing. We need immediate evacuation. Sarah's heart pounded. This was not supposed to happen. Humanity had been hiding underground for 258 years. After the AI wars nearly destroyed civilization, the survivors had gone deep into the earth. They built cities in caves and old mines. They shut down all radio transmissions and electromagnetic signals. They became ghosts. The plan had been simple: hide until they were strong enough to face whatever threats existed in the galaxy. Learn from their mistakes. Rebuild their technology without alerting anyone to their presence. It had worked for over 2 centuries, until today. Sarah reached Sector 12 and stopped at the site before her. A massive drill had punched through the ceiling. Rocks and debris covered the floor. Bodies lay motionless under the rubble. Families who had been living their normal lives moments ago were now dead or injured. A child was crying. Sarah pulled a piece of concrete off a woman's leg and helped her to safety. Medical teams rushed past her trying to save whoever they could. How many? Sarah asked a young soldier. 23 dead so far, he replied, his face pale. 40 injured. And Commander, that drill is still active. It's going to breach the residential area next. Sarah looked up at the hole in the ceiling. Through the gap, she could see metal machinery moving. She could hear voices speaking in a language she did not recognize. Alien voices. She had trained for this moment her entire life, but she never thought it would actually happen. The Council of Elders always said the same thing. Stay hidden. Stay quiet. Wait for the right time. But the right time had just run out. Get everyone out of this sector, Sarah ordered. Move them to the emergency shelters. And get me a line to the United Earth Confederacy. Now. 2 hours later, Sarah stood in the command center, facing a holographic projection of 5 elderly men and women, the Council of Elders. They ruled what remained of humanity from 5 different underground cities spread across the globe. They do not know we are here, Elder Morrison said. His white beard made him look ancient, though he was only 70. We can relocate the affected sectors. Move deeper underground. They will never find us. They killed 23 people, Sarah said, struggling to keep her voice calm, and they will kill more. Their machines are huge. If they keep mining, they will breach other cities. Beijing Underground, London Deep, Moscow Caverns. We cannot just hide. We have hidden for 258 years, Elder Yuki said softly. It has kept us alive. Barely alive, Sarah shot back. Living in caves. Afraid to use radio. Afraid to go to the surface. Afraid of our own technology. Is this really living? It is surviving, Elder Chen said. He was Sarah's great uncle, one of the last people alive who remembered seeing the sun. After the AI wars, we lost 6 billion people. 6 billion. The machines we created turned against us. We cannot risk that happening again. These are not our machines, Sarah said. These are aliens. And they think we are dead. They think this world is empty. We need to know who they are and what they want. Elder Morrison shook his head. If we reveal ourselves, we reveal our weakness. We have no space fleet, no orbital defenses, no way to fight back if they decide to attack. We have survived underground for over 2 centuries, Sarah argued. We have rebuilt our technology. We have weapons the old world never dreamed of. Neural interfaces, quantum shields, plasma rifles. We are not weak, we are few, Elder Morrison said firmly. Less than 800 million people across all our cities. Before the AI wars, Earth had 12 billion. We are a shadow of what we once were. The room fell silent. Sarah knew he was right. Humanity was a fraction of its former self, but she also knew that hiding would not work forever. Let me take a team to the surface, Sarah said. Let me see what we are dealing with. Maybe they will leave on their own. Maybe this is just a mining operation and they will move on to another world. The elders looked at each other. Finally, Elder Morrison nodded. You may take a reconnaissance team. Observe only. Do not engage. We need information before we make any decision, Sarah saluted. Understood. 24 hours later, Sarah stood on the surface of Earth for the first time in her life. She was 34 years old and had never seen the sky. It was overwhelming. The sun was bright and warm on her face. The air smelled different than the recycled atmosphere of the underground cities. Fresh, alive. But she did not have time to appreciate it. In the distance, she could see the alien mining operation. Massive machines tore into the earth. Strange vehicles moved back and forth. And above it all, barely visible in the daylight, hung an enormous ship in orbit. Major Jacob Torres knelt beside her, looking through binoculars. He was a soldier like Sarah. His family had been in the military for generations, ever since the underground cities were founded. There are hundreds of them, Jacob whispered. Maybe thousands. And that ship in orbit, it is the size of a city. Sarah counted at least 3 mining sites from their position on the hillside. The aliens were not just taking samples. They were preparing to strip the planet. We need to get closer, Sarah said. I want to know what they are saying. What they are planning. That is dangerous, Jacob warned. If they catch us, then we will know if they are hostile, Sarah interrupted. Right now we know nothing, and ignorance will get us all killed. They moved carefully down the hillside, using the ruins of old buildings for cover. It took them 3 hours to get close to the nearest mining site. Sarah activated her recording equipment and aimed it at a group of aliens standing near a vehicle. They were tall, maybe 7 feet. They had gray skin and 3 eyes arranged in a triangle on their faces. They wore armor that looked advanced with built-in technology Sarah could not identify. One of them was speaking. Sarah's translator struggled with the language, but it caught enough words to send ice through her veins. Rich deposits. No resistance. Empire will be pleased. Inferior species destroyed themselves. Easy resources. Sarah and Jacob looked at each other. The meaning was clear. These aliens thought humans were extinct. They were here to take whatever they wanted from a dead world. And they had no idea that beneath their feet, 800 million humans were watching, waiting, preparing. The choice had been made for humanity. They could not hide anymore. The question now was, what would they do about it? Sarah pressed a button on her communicator. Command, this is Chen. I need an emergency council meeting. We have a situation. They think we are dead. And we need to decide if we are going to correct that assumption. The message was simple, but it carried enormous weight. For 258 years, humanity had been ghosts. Now they had to decide if they would remain ghosts, or if they would remind the galaxy what humans could do when pushed too far. In the underground cities, lights began to flicker. Systems that had been dormant for centuries started coming online. Weapons factories hidden deep in the earth began their production cycles. Humanity had been sleeping, but sleep was over. The aliens had come to harvest a dead world. They were about to discover their mistake. The emergency council meeting lasted 18 hours. Representatives from all 5 major underground cities attended through holographic projection. New Detroit, Beijing Underground, London Deep, Moscow Caverns, and Tokyo Sub-City. These were the last strongholds of humanity. connected by underground tunnels and fiber optic cables that ran beneath the ocean floors. Sarah Chen stood before them, exhausted but determined. Beside her, Jacob Torres displayed the intelligence they had gathered. Images of the alien mining operations, recordings of their conversations, analysis of their technology. They call themselves Zetharians, Sarah explained. Our AI translation systems have been working on their language for the past 12 hours. We now understand about 60% of what they say. And what are they saying? Elder Morrison asked. They are slavers, Jacob said, his voice hard. They have conquered 47 worlds. They take resources and enslave any species they find useful. The rest they eliminate. The council chamber fell silent. The elders looked at each other with expressions of horror and resignation. This was their worst fear realized. Humanity had hidden to avoid exactly this situation. How many ships do they have? Elder Yuki asked. One mining vessel in orbit, Sarah replied. It is big, but it is not a warship. Our analysts believe it can support about 5,000 Zetharians. On the ground, we estimate 3,000 are actively working at the mining sites. 8,000 total, Elder Chen said quietly, against our 800 million. The numbers favor us. Numbers do not win wars, Elder Morrison said sharply. Technology does, and we have no idea what weapons they possess. Sarah took a deep breath. Actually, we do. Our scouts have been observing them for 3 days now. Their ground forces use plasma rifles and energy shields, standard military equipment. Their armor is advanced but not invincible, and their orbital ship has basic defensive weapons, nothing more. It is a mining vessel, not a battleship. You are suggesting we fight them, Elder Morrison said. It was not a question. I am suggesting we cannot hide anymore, Sarah replied. They are mining our planet. Every day their operations expand. They have already breached New Detroit. What happens when they breach Beijing? Or London, or Tokyo? How many more of our people have to die before we act? If we reveal ourselves, their empire will send more ships, Elder Morrison argued. We might defeat these 8,000, but what about the 80,000 that come next? Or the 800,000 after that? Then we show them that Earth is not worth the cost, Jacob said, stepping forward. We make it so expensive to attack us that they decide to go elsewhere. Empires are practical. They want easy conquest. We make ourselves hard. Elder Morrison shook his head. You are both young. You do not remember the AI wars. You do not remember what happened when we became too confident in our weapons. I remember the stories, Sarah said quietly. I know 6 billion people died. I know the machines we created turned against us. But Elder Morrison, these are not our machines. These are aliens who think we are extinct, and if we do nothing, we might as well be extinct. The debate continued for hours. Some elders wanted to relocate deeper underground. Others wanted to negotiate. A few even suggested surrendering and hoping for mercy. But Sarah knew there would be no mercy. She had heard the Zetharian conversations. They spoke about humans the way someone might speak about insects, an inferior species that had destroyed itself. Not worthy of consideration. Finally, Elder Chen spoke. He was the oldest member of the council, nearly 90 years old. When he spoke, everyone listened. I was 5 years old when we went underground, he said softly. I remember the sun. I remember my mother carrying me into the tunnels while the machines destroyed our cities. I remember the screams. For 85 years I have lived in caves. I helped build New Detroit. I watched my children and grandchildren grow up without ever seeing the sky. He paused, looking directly at Sarah. I am tired of hiding. I am tired of being afraid. If we are going to die, let us die fighting. Let us die as humans, not as rats in holes. The council took a vote. It was close, 7-5, but the decision was made. Humanity would fight back. The preparation took 2 weeks. During that time, the Zetharians continued their mining operations, completely unaware that beneath them, an entire civilization was preparing for war. Sarah was given command of the strike force, 200 soldiers, all volunteers. They were equipped with the best technology humanity had developed during their long isolation. Neural interface helmets that allowed instant communication and coordination. Powered exoskeletons that enhanced strength and speed. Plasma rifles that could melt through most known materials. Quantum shields that bent light, making the wearer nearly invisible. And combat AI assistants carefully programmed with multiple safeguards to prevent another AI war. Jacob Torres was her second in command. Together they planned the attack carefully. The goal was not to kill all the Zetharians. That would be impossible with only 200 soldiers. The goal was to send a message. Earth was not dead, and humans were not prey. They chose the mining site closest to New Detroit for their first strike. It was the smallest operation, with only about 300 Zetharian workers and 50 soldiers guarding them. Sarah and her team emerged from the underground tunnels at midnight. The Zetharians had set up powerful lights around their camp, but they were not expecting an attack.
Why would they?
They thought the planet was empty. "Remember," Sarah whispered through the neural link to her soldiers. "Quick and precise. Hit them hard, then disappear. We want them scared, not angry." Her team split into 4 groups. Each group had a specific target: the communications array, the power generator, the vehicle depot, and the command center. Sarah led the assault on the command center herself. 5 Zetharians were inside, studying holographic displays of mining data. They looked relaxed, confident, safe. That confidence lasted exactly 3 seconds. Sarah's team burst through the door with their quantum shields active. To the Zetharians, it looked like ghosts were attacking, invisible enemies that appeared out of nowhere. The Zetharians reached for their weapons, but they were too slow. Human reflexes, enhanced by neural interfaces and powered exoskeletons, were faster. Plasma fire lit up the room. The Zetharians fell before they could raise an alarm. Outside, the other teams completed their objectives. The communications array exploded in a shower of sparks. The power generator went dark, plunging the entire camp into darkness. The vehicle depot became a wall of flames. Zetharian soldiers rushed out of their barracks, confused and disoriented. They fired their weapons randomly into the darkness, hitting nothing. Sarah's teams moved like shadows, striking and vanishing before the enemy could respond. The entire attack lasted 7 minutes. When it was over, the mining site was destroyed. 68 Zetharians were dead. The rest were running in panic, trying to understand what had happened. Sarah and her team disappeared back into the underground tunnels. Not a single human casualty. In orbit, Captain Vex stared at the reports coming from the surface. His 3 eyes blinked rapidly, a sign of extreme confusion among his species. "What do you mean the mining site was destroyed?" he demanded. "Unknown attackers," his subordinate reported, his voice shaking. "The survivors say they were attacked by invisible enemies. Ghosts, the humans from the ancient records." "Impossible," Vex said. "The humans are extinct. This planet is dead. Then what attacked our people?" the subordinate asked. Vex had no answer. He pulled up the historical records on Earth. 300 years ago, humans had shown signs of basic technology. Radio waves, primitive satellites, chemical rockets. Then everything stopped. The logical conclusion was extinction, but what if that conclusion was wrong? "Send a battalion to the surface," Vex ordered. 2,000 soldiers. Full combat gear. Find out what attacked us and eliminate it. "Sir, should we request reinforcements from the Empire?" Vex's pride would not allow that. He had conquered 12 worlds personally. He would not admit to his superiors that he needed help dealing with a dead planet. "No," he said firmly. "We can handle this. It is probably just a few survivors hiding in caves. We will flush them out and finish what their own wars started." It was the biggest mistake of his life. Deep in the underground cities, Sarah and Jacob watched the Zetharian response through surveillance drones. 2,000 soldiers were being loaded onto transport ships. They would land within hours. "They are coming," Jacob said. "Good," Sarah replied. "Let them come. We have been fighting in tunnels and darkness for 200 years, training in underground cities, learning to survive in enclosed spaces. They are about to enter our world, and in our world we make the rules." She turned to her soldiers. The attack had proven something important. Humans could fight. Humans could win. The fear that had kept them hiding for centuries was beginning to fade, replaced by something else. Anger, determination, hope. "Get everyone ready," Sarah ordered. "We are going to show these Zetharians what happens when you disturb the dead. We are going to show them that humans do not just die quietly. We fight, we survive, and we remember." The Battle of Detroit Underground was about to begin. The Zetharians thought they were hunting survivors in caves. The Zetharian transports landed in the ruins of old Detroit. Commander Krell stood at the front of his battalion, looking at the broken city with disgust. 2,000 of the Empire's finest soldiers surrounded him, armed and ready for combat. "Pathetic," Krell muttered. This species could not even maintain their own cities. No wonder they went extinct. His orders were simple. Find whatever attacked the mining site and destroy it. Captain Vex had been clear. The Empire's reputation was at stake. They could not allow anyone, even a few survivors on a dead world, to challenge Zetharian authority. Spread out, Krell commanded. Search every building, every tunnel, every hole. If anything alive is down there, I want it found and eliminated. The battalion moved through the ruined streets. Their scanners showed no heat signatures, no electromagnetic emissions, no signs of technology. Just empty buildings and silence. Sir, we found something, a soldier reported. An entrance. It goes underground. Krell walked over to inspect it. A large opening in the ground hidden beneath rubble. His scanner showed it led to tunnels beneath the city. Deep tunnels. This must be where the survivors are hiding, Krell said. He activated his communication device. All units converge on my position. We are going underground. The Zetharian soldiers gathered at the entrance. 2,000 warriors equipped with plasma rifles, energy shields, and enough firepower to level a city. They turned on their helmet lights and began descending into the darkness. What they did not know was that they were being watched. Cameras hidden in the rubble tracked their every move. In the command center of New Detroit, Sarah Chen and Jacob Torres monitored the enemy approach. They are all entering through the main access point, Jacob said. Just like we expected, Sarah nodded. How long until they reach the kill zone? 20 minutes. Maybe less. Sarah took a deep breath. This was the moment. Everything humanity had planned for the past 2 weeks depended on the next hour. They had to win this battle, not just for survival, but to prove that Earth was not defenseless. All units prepare to engage, Sarah said through the neural link. Remember your training. Remember why we fight. For everyone who died when they breached our city. For everyone living in fear underground. Today we show them that humans are not extinct. 800 soldiers waited in the darkness. They knew every tunnel, every passage, every hiding spot. This was their home. The Zetharians were invaders in a world they did not understand. Commander Krell led his battalion deeper into the tunnels. The passages were wide enough for his soldiers to move in formation, which was good. He did not like the idea of fighting in tight spaces. The tunnels were strange, too smooth to be natural caves. These had been made by machines, advanced machines. Krell felt the first touch of doubt. If survivors had built these tunnels, they were not primitive. Stay alert, he ordered. These tunnels are... An explosion cut off his words. The passage behind his lead units collapsed in a shower of rock and fire. 20 Zetharian soldiers disappeared under the rubble. Ambush. Someone shouted. Plasma fire erupted from the darkness ahead. Krell's soldiers raised their shields and returned fire, but they could not see their enemies. The tunnel lights went dark. Emergency lighting flickered, creating shadows and confusion. Night vision, Krell commanded. Switch to night vision. His soldiers activated their helmets' night vision mode. The tunnel lit up in shades of green, but what they saw made no sense. The passage ahead appeared empty. No enemies. No heat signatures, nothing. Another explosion. This time from the left. A side tunnel collapsed, crushing more of his soldiers. Krell realized with growing horror that his enemies were using the tunnels themselves as weapons. Forward, he ordered. We cannot stay here. Push forward! The battalion moved deeper into the underground network. Every few minutes, another explosion would collapse a passage or seal off an exit. The Zetharians were being herded like animals, forced to move in specific directions. Then the real attack began. Sarah's soldiers appeared from hidden passages and ventilation shafts. They wore quantum shields that made them nearly invisible in the darkness. They fired quick bursts from their plasma rifles, then disappeared before the Zetharians could respond. A Zetharian soldier would be walking, and suddenly his companion beside him would fall. A hole burned through his chest. The others would spin around, firing at shadows. But there was nothing there, just darkness and the sound of their own panicked breathing. They are in the walls, a soldier screamed. They are everywhere. Jacob Torres led a strike team through the ventilation system above the main tunnel. They dropped gas grenades through grates in the ceiling. Not deadly gas, but thick smoke that made the Zetharians' night vision useless. The Zetharian formation broke apart. Soldiers stumbled through the smoke, firing randomly. They hit each other more often than they hit humans. Panic spread through their ranks like a disease. Commander Krell tried to maintain order, but it was impossible. His communication system was jammed. His scanners were useless. His soldiers were dying to an enemy they could not see, could not fight, could not understand. Retreat, he finally ordered. Back to the surface. Everyone, retreat now! But when the Zetharians turned around, they discovered the passages behind them were sealed. Explosions had collapsed the tunnels. There was no way back. They were trapped. Sarah watched the chaos through her helmet display. The neural link allowed her to see what all her soldiers saw, to coordinate their movements with perfect precision. It was like playing chess, except the pieces were people and the stakes were humanity's survival. Group 3, hit them from the east corridor, she ordered. Group 7, prepare the water traps. Group 12, get ready to collapse Section 9. Her soldiers moved like ghosts through the tunnels they had grown up in. Every one of them had trained for this since childhood, fighting in enclosed spaces, using darkness as a weapon, turning their home into a deadly maze. The Zetharians were strong. Their technology was advanced, but they were surface dwellers. They had conquered 47 worlds, but they had done it with overwhelming force and open battlefields. They had never fought an enemy that used the environment itself as a weapon. Water began flooding some of the lower tunnels. Zetharian soldiers found themselves chest-deep in cold water, their heavy armor dragging them down. They abandoned their equipment and tried to swim, but they did not know which way led to safety. More explosions. More collapsed passages. The Zetharian battalion was being cut into smaller and smaller groups, each one isolated and surrounded by darkness. Commander Krell found himself with only 50 soldiers left. The rest were dead, captured, or lost somewhere in the maze of tunnels. His armor was damaged. His weapon was running low on charge, and he still had not seen a single enemy clearly. Show yourselves, he screamed into the darkness.
Fight us like warriors!
A voice answered him. It came from speakers hidden in the wall, speaking in his own language. You invaded our world. It was a female voice, calm and cold. You killed our people. You thought we were extinct. You were wrong. Who are you? Krell demanded. We are humans, and this is our home. You do not belong here. Light suddenly blazed throughout the tunnel. Krell blinked, his eyes adjusting. When he could see again, he found himself surrounded. Hundreds of human soldiers stood in every passage, every doorway, every side tunnel. They held their weapons trained on the remaining Zetharians. For the first time, Krell saw humans. They were smaller than Zetharians, but they moved with confidence and precision. Their armor was sleek and advanced. Their weapons were steady, and their eyes showed no fear. Surrender, the female voice said. Sarah Chen stepped forward, removing her helmet. Put down your weapons and you will be treated fairly. Continue fighting and you will die here in the dark. Krell looked at his soldiers. They were exhausted, terrified, and defeated. He had brought 2,000 warriors into these tunnels. Less than 200 remained alive. His pride wanted to fight to the death. But his survival instinct was stronger. We surrender, he said, dropping his weapon. The battle lasted 72 hours from start to finish. Of the 2,000 Zetharian soldiers who entered the tunnels, 300 survived. The rest were dead or missing, buried under collapsed passages or drowned in flooded sections. Human casualties, 12 dead, 37 wounded. In orbit, Captain Vex stared at the reports with disbelief. His entire battalion destroyed, by an enemy that supposedly did not exist. Get me a direct line to the Zetharian Empire, he ordered, his voice shaking. I need to report. I need to tell them about Earth. What should we tell them, sir? His subordinate asked. Vex looked at the planet below. The dead world that was not dead. The extinct species that was very much alive. Tell them we made a mistake, Vex said quietly. Tell them Earth is inhabited by an advanced warrior species. Tell them these humans have been waiting, preparing. They knew we would come eventually, and they were ready. Should we request reinforcements? Vex nodded slowly. Request the Third Fleet, full military force. We cannot handle this alone. The message was sent. It traveled through space at faster than light speed, reaching the Zetharian homeworld within hours. And from there, it spread to the Galactic Council. The Galactic Council chamber was in chaos. Representatives from 200 species filled the massive hall, all talking at once. Holographic displays showed the same images over and over. Earth, the planet declared dead for 3 centuries, was very much alive. Ambassador Thurin of the Council stood at the center podium trying to restore order. His species, the Valorians, had maintained galactic peace for 5,000 years, but this situation was unprecedented. Silence. Thurin's voice boomed through the chamber. We will proceed in an orderly fashion. The Zetharian Empire has requested permission to speak. The Zetharian ambassador, a massive creature named Vorgath, stepped forward. His 3 eyes burned with anger and humiliation. The council was wrong, Vorgath declared. Earth is not a dead world. It harbors an aggressive species that attacked our peaceful mining operation. They killed 1,500 Zetharian citizens. This is an act of war. Peaceful? A voice called from the crowd. Your people invaded their world, a world we believed was empty. Vorgath shouted. How were we to know humans still existed? They emit no signals. They hide like cowards underground. If they wanted their world left alone, they should have announced their presence to the galaxy. Perhaps they were hiding from species like yours, another ambassador suggested. Before Vorgath could respond, the chamber's main display flickered. A new transmission was coming through. From Earth, everyone fell silent as the image appeared. A human female in military uniform stood in what appeared to be an underground command center. Behind her, dozens of other humans worked at stations filled with advanced technology. My name is Commander Sarah Chen of the United Earth Confederacy, the woman said. Her voice was calm but firm. I am transmitting this message to correct several misunderstandings. First, Earth is not abandoned. 800 million humans live on this planet. Second, we did not attack the Zetharians unprovoked. They invaded our world, killed our people, and destroyed our homes. We defended ourselves. That is not an act of war. That is survival. The council chamber erupted in noise again. 800 million humans? How had they hidden for so long? Third, Sarah continued, we know about the Zetharian Empire. We have interrogated their prisoners. We know they have conquered 47 worlds. We know they practice slavery and genocide. So please, council members, do not pretend this was a peaceful mining operation. The Zetharians came to harvest a world they thought was defenseless. They were wrong. Vorgath's face darkened with rage. How dare you? I dare because my people are done hiding, Sarah interrupted. For 258 years, we lived in fear underground. We thought the galaxy was too dangerous for us. But now we see that hiding only delays the inevitable. So here is our message to the Zetharian Empire. Leave Earth alone. Leave our solar system. Do not come back. If you do, we will defend ourselves again. You threaten the Empire. Vorgath laughed. You defeated 1 battalion. 1. The 3rd Fleet is already on its way to your world. 50 warships. 500,000 soldiers. Your underground cities will be turned to dust. Your species will finally become the extinct creatures we thought you were. Sarah's expression did not change. Then come. We will be ready. The transmission ended. The council chamber fell silent. Ambassador Thurin looked troubled. War was coming, and nothing could stop it now. 3 weeks later, the Zetharian 3rd Fleet dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. 50 massive warships, each one capable of destroying a city with a single shot. Admiral Krovar commanded the fleet from his flagship, the Subjugator. Begin scanning the planet, Krovar ordered. I want to know everything. How many humans? Where they live? How deep their tunnels go? When we strike, it will be final. No survivors. His officers worked quietly. The 3rd Fleet had destroyed 17 species completely. The Zetharian Empire did not believe in half measures. When they decided a species was a threat, they eliminated it. Sir, a sensor officer called out, I am detecting objects in orbit around Earth. They appear to be asteroids, space debris. So? Krovar said dismissively. Sir, there are hundreds of them, maybe thousands. In precise orbital patterns, Krovar frowned. Natural debris did not arrange itself in patterns. He pulled up the sensor display and studied it carefully. His blood ran cold. Those are not asteroids, he whispered. Those are weapons platforms. Hidden as debris. How long have they been there? Unknown, sir. But based on their orbits, possibly centuries. Krovar realized what this meant. The humans had not been hiding underground in fear. They had been preparing. For hundreds of years, they had been preparing for exactly this moment. All ships raise shields, Krovar commanded. Battle stations. Launch fighters. His warning came too late. The asteroids came to life. Thousands of hidden weapons platforms activated simultaneously. Railgun satellites that looked like space rocks began firing projectiles at incredible speeds. Missile platforms disguised as debris launched their payloads. Laser arrays hidden in the darkness of space converged on the Zetharian ships. The 3rd Fleet found itself under attack from every direction. Evasive maneuvers. Krovar shouted. Return fire. The Zetharian warships were powerful, but they had entered the battle already surrounded. The humans had turned Earth's entire orbital space into a minefield. A kill zone. Ships exploded as railgun projectiles tore through their hulls. Fighters were vaporized by laser fire before they could launch. The subjugator's shields held, but barely. Krovar had never seen anything like this. The humans fought like demons. Sir, we need to pull back. His tactical officer urged. No. Krovar refused. We outnumber them. Push forward. Destroy those satellites. The fleet pushed toward Earth, taking heavy losses. But as they got closer, new contacts appeared on the scanners. Large ships rising from the planet's surface. Sarah Chen stood on the bridge of the Defiant, the first of Earth's ARC ships to take flight. Around her, the crew worked with practiced efficiency. They had trained for this day for decades. Some of them were born on this ship in the massive underground hangar where it had been built in secret. All ships, this is Defiant, Sarah transmitted. Formation Delta, target their flagship. Today we show the galaxy that Earth is not defenseless. Today we show them what humans can do. 6 ARC ships rose from Earth like ancient giants awakening. They were massive vessels, each one built over 200 years in underground construction facilities. They were not as large as the Zetharian warships, but they were designed by a species that had learned brutal lessons from the AI wars. Every system had multiple backups. Every weapon could be fired manually if the computers failed. Every section could be sealed off independently. The ARC ships were built to survive, and they were built to fight. Charging main cannon, the weapons officer reported. Fire when ready, Sarah ordered. The Defiant's main weapon was a magnetic accelerator cannon, designed to fire projectiles at a significant fraction of light speed. When it fired, the entire ship shuddered. The projectile crossed the distance to the subjugator in seconds and struck its forward shields. The Zetharian flagship rocked from the impact. Admiral Krovar gripped his command chair as alarms blared throughout the ship. Shields at 40%. Someone shouted, "How is that possible?" Krovar demanded. That should not have penetrated our shields. But it had. The humans had spent 200 years studying the weapons and technology captured from their own AI wars. They understood energy shields. They knew how to break them. Jacob Torres commanded the ARC ship Vengeance. His target was the Zetharian carrier ship launching fighters to attack Earth's surface. All weapons, concentrate fire on that carrier, Jacob ordered. Do not let those fighters reach the planet. The Vengeance and 2 other ARC ships focused their attack on the carrier. Plasma cannons, missiles, and railgun fire converged on the massive vessel. Its shields flickered and failed. Explosions rippled across its hull. The carrier began to list, losing power. Its fighters, already launched, found themselves without support. Human defense satellites picked them off one by one. The battle raged for 6 hours. The Zetharian Third Fleet had superior numbers, but the humans had advantages the aliens had not anticipated. They fought with a desperation that came from knowing this was their last stand. They used tactics that seemed insane to the civilized galaxy. Ships would ram enemy vessels after evacuating their crews. Nuclear mines would detonate in the middle of Zetharian formations, with no regard for the radiation or debris. These humans fight like they have nothing to lose, Admiral Krovar said, watching another of his ships explode. Perhaps they do not. Sir, his tactical officer replied. Krovar made a decision. All ships target the planet directly. If we cannot defeat their fleet, we will destroy their world. Fire all planetary bombardment weapons. The remaining Zetharian ships turned their massive guns toward Earth, but before they could fire, the Defiant moved between them and the planet. Sarah Chen knew what she had to do. She ordered most of her crew to the escape pods. Commander, what are you doing? Jacob's voice came through the communication system. Buying time, Sarah replied calmly. Get the other ships into position. Protect Earth. Sarah, no, that is an order, Major Torres. You have command of the fleet now. Do not let them reach the planet. The Galactic Council chamber had never been so crowded. Every species with representation had sent their ambassadors. Even species that normally ignored council meetings were present. Everyone wanted to see the humans. Jacob Torres walked through the massive doors flanked by 2 human soldiers. He wore a simple military uniform, not the elaborate ceremonial clothes that most ambassadors preferred. Behind him, a holographic display showed Earth still surrounded by the debris of the recent battle. The chamber fell silent as Jacob approached the central podium. 200 species watched him with expressions ranging from curiosity to fear to outright hostility. Ambassador Thurin of the Valorians spoke first. Major Torres, the Council recognizes the United Earth Confederacy's request for membership. However, this situation is highly irregular. Earth was declared a dead world 3 centuries ago. Your sudden reappearance, combined with the destruction of a significant portion of the Zetharian Third Fleet, has created considerable concern. I understand, Jacob replied calmly, and I am here to address those concerns. Vorgath, the Zetharian ambassador, stood up. His 3 eyes burned with hatred. You murdered hundreds of thousands of our people. You destroyed our ships, and now you dare ask to join this council? You should be standing trial for war crimes. War crimes? Jacob's voice remained steady. Your empire invaded our world without warning. Your people killed our civilians. Your admiral tried to destroy our entire planet. We defended ourselves. That is not a crime. That is survival. You hid from the galaxy for centuries, Vorgath shouted. You developed weapons in secret. You turned your entire planet into a trap. These are not the actions of a peaceful species. You are right, Jacob said quietly. The chamber fell silent. We are not a peaceful species. We never claimed to be, but we are not aggressors either. We did not seek out the Zetharian Empire. You came to us. You thought Earth was empty. You thought you could take whatever you wanted. You were wrong. Jacob activated his holographic display. Images appeared in the air above the podium. Not images of the recent battle, but something else. Old records. Historical data. These are archives we recovered from our research, Jacob explained. Information about the Zetharian Empire. About the worlds you conquered. About the species you destroyed. The images showed planet after planet, species after species, all of them extinct, all of them wiped out by Zetharian expansion. 12 species, Jacob said, his voice hard. 12 intelligent civilizations that no longer exist because the Zetharian Empire decided they were in the way. The Council suspected this, but you never had proof. We found proof. In the wreckage of your ships. In the data files of your prisoners. The Zetharians are not just conquerors. They are exterminators. The council chamber erupted in noise. Some ambassadors looked shocked. Others looked at the Zetharian delegation with new suspicion. Vorgath's face darkened with rage. Those species were inferior, Vorgath declared. They could not adapt. Could not evolve. We did the galaxy a favor by removing them. The galaxy did not ask for that favor, Jacob shot back. Those species had a right to exist, just like humans have a right to exist, just like every species in this chamber has a right to exist. But your empire believes only the strong deserve to survive. Well, we showed you how strong humans can be, and we did it without destroying entire species, without committing genocide. Ambassador Thurin raised his hand for silence. Major Torres, these are serious accusations. Do you have evidence to support these claims? Yes. Jacob transmitted data files to the Council's main computer. Everything is in there. Locations of destroyed worlds, species names, dates of extinction, communications between Zetharian commanders discussing the elimination of civilian populations, all of it taken from captured Zetharian vessels and databases. The Council members began reviewing the data. Their expressions grew more troubled with each file they opened. The evidence was overwhelming. The Zetharian Empire had been committing genocide for centuries, and the Council had either not known or chosen not to act. Vorgath realized the situation was turning against him. This is a human trick. They fabricated this data to make us look like criminals. Did we also fabricate the 200,000 Zetharian soldiers you sent to destroy our planet? Jacob asked. Did we fabricate the orders to glass Earth from orbit? Your admiral's own logs show his intentions. He was not coming to negotiate. He was coming to annihilate us. Because you attacked us first, Vorgath insisted. You invaded our world, Jacob said, his voice rising for the first time. You killed our people. You thought we were extinct, so you thought you could take whatever you wanted. But we were not extinct. We were just sleeping, and you woke us up. The chamber fell silent again. Jacob took a deep breath and continued more calmly. The Council needs to understand something about humans. We are not like most species in the galaxy. We did not evolve to be peaceful. We evolved to survive. For millions of years, we fought for every resource, every territory, every advantage. We learned to make weapons from sticks and stones. We learned to hunt creatures much larger than ourselves. We learned to survive in environments that would kill most species. He paused, letting his words sink in. Then we developed technology, and we almost destroyed ourselves with it. 258 years ago, we fought a war against artificial intelligence. Machines we created turned against us. 6 billion humans died. Our cities were destroyed. Our civilization was shattered. Most species would have gone extinct. We did not. We adapted. We survived. We went underground and rebuilt everything from nothing. Jakob looked directly at Vorgoth. You thought Earth was dead because we stopped transmitting signals. We stopped because we were hiding. Not from you. From ourselves. From what we had become. We spent 2.5 centuries learning from our mistakes. Learning to control our technology instead of being controlled by it. Learning to work together instead of fighting each other. And then you came along, Jakob continued. You invaded our world. You killed our people. You forced us to make a choice. Stay hidden and die slowly or come out and fight. We chose to fight, not because we wanted war, but because sometimes survival requires violence. Ambassador Thurin spoke carefully. Major Torres, the Council appreciates your honesty. But you must understand our concern. Earth has demonstrated military capabilities that rival some of the most powerful species in the galaxy. Weapons that have been hidden for centuries. Ships that can defeat Zetharian warships. These capabilities make Earth a potential threat to galactic stability. We are only a threat to those who threaten us. Jacob replied, We do not want to conquer other worlds. We do not want to build an empire. We just want to be left alone. But we will not be victims. We will not hide anymore. We will not let anyone think Earth is an easy target. He activated another holographic display. This one showed human ships. Not arc ships, but smaller vessels. Scout ships. Survey ships. Exploration vessels. These ships launched 3 days ago, Jakob said. They are spreading throughout the galaxy, searching for something. Can anyone guess what? The council members looked at each other nervously. What were the humans looking for? We are looking for the lost species, Jakob explained. The 12 civilizations destroyed by the Zetharian Empire. We want to find their homeworlds. Document what happened to them. Make sure the galaxy remembers them. Because that is what happens when you let genocide go unpunished. Species disappear, and eventually everyone forgets they existed. Jakob looked around the chamber, but humans do not forget. It is one of our defining characteristics. We remember our dead, we remember our mistakes, we remember who wronged us, and we make sure others remember too. He turned back to Ambassador Thurin. So here is our proposal. The Council accepts Earth as a sovereign member. In return, we will share our evidence about the Zetharian Empire's crimes. We will help investigate other potential genocides. We will use our military capabilities to defend Council worlds from aggressive species. But we will not be ordered around. We will not be treated as inferior. We have earned our place in the galaxy through blood and survival, and we will not apologize for being strong. Vorgoth stood up, shaking with rage. The Empire will never accept this. We will send more fleets. We will finish what the Third Fleet started. Then you will lose more fleets, Jakob said quietly. And eventually your empire will have to ask itself a question. Is Earth worth the cost? How many ships will you sacrifice? How many soldiers will you lose? How many resources will you waste trying to conquer a species that refuses to die? He leaned forward, his eyes hard. We have been dead once. We learned to survive in the darkness. We learned to fight with nothing. We learned to expect no mercy and give none in return. You cannot scare us with threats of extinction. We have already survived extinction once. We can do it again. Can your empire say the same? The threat was clear. Humans were not just defending their world. They were warning the entire galaxy. Attack Earth and you might win, but the cost would be devastating. Humans would not surrender. They would not negotiate. They would fight until either they were destroyed or their enemy was. Ambassador Thurin looked troubled. Major Torres, are you saying Earth would be willing to escalate this conflict?